So 3 space.
No.
Hey everybody, Aubrey here once again alongside Ready Unknown Fox and Tiger.
Hello, people.
And right now Tiger's currently looking at my MCA Universal tapes and he's sniffing them as we speak. Tiger, is there a scent on there that you think is kind of pleasant? Okay, well let's get going. We're going to do my MCA Universal Home Video VHS tape collections, which I have a lot of them. We're going to do the clamshells first. This is Casper, 1995 film. I remember seeing this in the movie theaters back in that year. Pretty funny movie. A family fantasy comedy of astonishing technical achievement, says Michael Wilmington of the Chicago Tribune. Yeah. Definitely a good movie to watch in October. Oh. Telephone. Let me find out who this is. Oh, well, it's for my mother, but my mother's not here, so I'm just going to let it ring.
Right.
Anyways, we're going on. Casper, good movie to watch in October. The other only clamshell I have is Gold Diggers, The Secret of Bear Mountain, also with Christina Ricci and Anna Chlumsky. I think that's how you say her last name. I'm not sure. There's no critique review on the back, unfortunately. At least not that I see. No, there's not. But this is a childhood favorite. I remember watching this when I was a kid. It's got the newer label on here. And by the way, on the Casper VHS, there's a preview for The Land Before Time 3, then a Pepsi commercial, then the FBI warnings, then the format screen, the MCA Universal Home Video logo, the Universal logo, then the film. On the Gold Diggers tape, there's no previews whatsoever. And I have 2 copies of The Hard Way with Michael J. Fox and James Woods. That's part of the Universal 75th Anniversary collection. One's a Canadian copy, actually. That's why I have 2 different copies. Well, another reason why I have 2 copies is because this copy right here is not in the greatest condition. The tape kind of hisses a bit when you play it. That's why I got me that mint condition copy right there. Well, it was mint condition when I got it. And neither of these tapes have previews on them. But yeah, this is a pretty good movie. The Hard Way. Highly recommended. Here's Jetsons the movie. I know this movie got negative reviews at the box office. Majority of the reviews were negative, but Chicago Sun-Times says it's a fun-loving flick that will appeal to all ages. Everything works. Which is good. And on this tape, it's got that Universal Studios Florida promo from 1990. Okay, there it is. Jetsons the movie. Here's Henry and June. NC-17 film. The only NC-17 movie that I have. Now, I'm not really reading the critique reviews on these 75th Anniversary Edition tapes because I already did that when I showed these tapes earlier this year. That's why I'm kind of going fast with the 75th Anniversary tapes. Here we have Darkman. This is a movie we should watch sometime. Okay. Yeah, this was a former rental. A lot of these tapes I have are former rentals. Yeah, if I could ever close this thing. Sorry, there we go. Hang on, let me set the camera down. There we go. Move these tapes closer. Here's Mo Better Blues with Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, and I think Wesley Snipes is in this movie. Yeah, he is. Good movie if you're into jazz. Here's the tape. Problem Child. This movie doesn't need any introduction. One of the guilty pleasures. Yeah, I know this tape is not really in the best condition, but I plan to get a better condition copy soon. Ghost Dad with Jello Pudding Bill Cosby. Jello Pudding. I know Rodney1279 would probably like this movie because it has Bill Cosby. Yeah, I don't know if he's ever seen this or not. Okay. Next tape I'm going to show is Time Cop with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Also made by Largo Entertainment. People magazine says it's clever and original. Time Cop is a thinking man's action movie, and the Associated Press calls it a pumped-up adventure packed with white-knuckle thrills and a futuristic plot. The special effects will leave you breathless, a terrific script, and a terrific cast. Okay. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, so I can't really say if it's good or not. I know there's also a Super Nintendo version of this game, which I will try to play on YouTube soon. Here's The Getaway with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger when they were married at the time. Also starring Michael Madsen and James Woods. Yeah, James Woods is one of my all-time favorite actors. Well, WNBC TV calls it escapist fun with non-stop action that never lets up. Alright. Label. A lot of these tapes I have are reprints because they have the newer Universal label on them. Here's An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, the sequel to The American Tail. And for a sequel, this movie's actually pretty good.
I liked it.
Oh yeah, highly recommended. Presented by none other than Steven Spielberg, of course. Gene Shalit of the Today Show calls it tip-top, terrific, and full of fun. A rollicking and endearing delight. It's a winner. Okay, here's the label. Okay. Next up, we have American Me with Edward James Olmos. He also directed this movie. Did he also write the screenplay? No, he only produced, directed, and wrote it, so... Oh, yeah, gotta be careful with the tape there. The Hollywood Reporter calls it a brilliant debut for Edward James Olmos. Okay. Here's In the Name of the Father with Daniel Day-Lewis and Emma Thompson. And the late, great Pete Postlethwaite. Yeah, I think that's how you say his last name, is in this movie. New York Times calls it a brilliant film, riveting. Daniel Day-Lewis gives another dazzling performance in what is so far the role of his career. And he's been in a lot of great movies. I have to rewatch this one to see what I think of it. It's over 2 hours long. Okay. Here's the letterbox edition of Always with Holly Hunter, Richard Dreyfuss, and John Goodman. This was also made by United Artists, or co-produced by United Artists. But the United Artists logo is not shown in this film. The Universal logo is. This is the widescreen edition. Letterboxed. U.S. Magazine says, as close to perfect as a movie gets. Steven Spielberg has made one of his best movies yet. There's the label. Okay. Here's Xanadu, which most critics call it Xanadon't. Yeah, the song in this movie, Xanadu, performed by Olivia Newton-John, is pretty good, but the movie itself is... nah. But I will say it does have its moments. And it's even got some animation in this film from Don Bluth. his first animation work away from Disney. There's an animated sequence in this film done by Don Bluth. So here's Trespass with Bill Paxton, Ice-T, William Sadler, and Ice Cube. Oh, and Robert Zemeckis was an executive producer of this film. Trespass is the best pure action movie of the year, says the Boston Globe. Yep, former rental. Now, I don't remember a lot of the openings to these tapes, so once I look at them, I'll put them on annotations. Here's Legend with Tom Cruise, 1986 movie. I think this is from 1986. Yeah, it is. Made by Ridley Scott. And label. Okay. Here's Mad Dog and Glory with Robert De Niro, Uma Thurman, and Bill Murray. Produced by Martin Scorsese, even though he did not direct this film. Original and outstanding. It's the smartest, most refreshing movie in a long, long time, says CBS TV. Yep, another former rental. Like I said, a majority of these tapes I have are indeed former rentals. Here's The River with Mel Gibson and Sissy Spacek, 1984. One of the first films to be given a PG-13 rating. A great film full of passion and decency, says Rex Reed of the New York Post. Oh, and Scott Glitt's in this movie too. I didn't know that. And here's a demo tape right here of Pure Luck from 1991, full-length screening cassette, starring Danny Glover and Martin Short. Pure Luck is a pure joy, says Jack Matthews of New York Newsday, and Martin Short is wonderful, says Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times. Coming your way this February, 1992. Oh, yes. Yeah, this is one of the all-time funniest movies ever. Yeah, there's the label. Here's another good one. Bird on a Wire with Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn. One of the last films to be made before the 1990 75th anniversary Universal logo was made. Mel and Goldie's teamwork sparkles with grace, wit, and the joy of sex. They've got more than enough chemistry to make this bird fly, says Guy Flatley of Cosmopolitan magazine. PBS TV calls it a roller coaster of a movie with hot action and wild humor. This bird soars. Yep. In fact, John Badham made this film a year before he made The Hard Way. Okay. Back to the Future Part 2. No need for an introduction to this film. A high-spirited romp, says David Anson of Newsweek magazine, and Time magazine calls it terrific, rich in invention and in astonishment. And this is one of the few sequels that actually is as good as the original film, but nothing beats the original.
Right.
Here's A Kiss Before Dying, another 75th anniversary edition Universal film. So, I'm just going to briefly show it. I got this at a former rental store in Chandler, Texas before it closed. Career Opportunities, another good movie. King Ralph. I know for a fact that Craig Simmons, Craig S. 1996 Television, got this movie very recently. Okay. Once Around. I saw this on one of the Cinemax channels back in 2006. I think it was 5-Star Max when I first saw this movie. Can't remember off the top of my head, but I think that was the one. Lionheart. Another Jean-Claude Van Damme action flick. Oops. Another movie that needs no introduction, Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Funny, funny movie. It says a preview for Backdraft at the beginning, a trailer for it. Havana, a little-known film with Robert Redford and Lena Olin. And who else is in this movie? Alan Arkin, that's right. Sequel to Child's Play, Child's Play 2. Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back. That's my Chucky laugh right there, by the way. It's a good movie to watch around Halloween time. Okay. White Palace with Susan Sarandon and James Spader. Jason Alexander's in this movie too, I believe. At least I think he is. I can't remember off the top of my head if he is or not. We got Back to the Future 3. Final film in the series. In the series of Back to the Future films. I wanted to be more specific. There we go. Okay. Here's Mallrats. Shannon Doherty, Jason Lee, and a few others. The only thing about this movie that I know of that it wasn't very good. You'll laugh your off. A blank blank off says KPHYFM Morning Show Detroit. Oh, Kevin Smith made this movie. Oh, what's this? Jay and Silent Bob are in this film? I need to rewatch this. I need to rewatch this movie because it's got Jay and Silent Bob. Here's The Jerk with Steve Martin, 1979 comedy. Oh yeah. I've seen this movie dozens of times. It's a pretty funny movie. It's even got the end label, too. Okay. Here's The Cowboy Way with Woody Harrelson and Kiefer Sutherland. First saw this on Cinemax back in 2006. A wildly funny edge-of-your-seat rom, says the ABC Radio Network. Okay. Here's Opportunity Knocks with Dana Carvey. He would be in Wayne's World a couple of years later. Don't miss this opportunity. Dana Carvey is big time funny, says Pat Collins of WWOR TV. Seen this movie and it is pretty funny. Okay. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot with Sylvester Stallone and Estelle Getty. Okay. What to say about this movie? Delightful, said by the San Francisco Chronicle. I'll tell you the truth. I saw this movie and it's not that great. I would say it's more of a guilty pleasure. Death Becomes Her with Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis, and Goldie Hawn. Death Becomes Her. This was made by Robert Zemeckis. Totally original, like nothing you've ever seen before, says Cinema Showcase. And diabolically inventive, says the Chicago Tribune. Yeah, this is a Canadian VHS tape, and I think it's a later printing. Yep, it is. Just notice the ink label it has on here, and the newer label. So yeah, it's definitely a reprint. Cheech and Chong's next movie. Oh, yes. Seen this movie? It's hilarious. Home video version, some music rescored. I will tell you this, Jay, there will be one night where we will watch Cheech and Chong's next movie.
Oh, good.
But guess who else makes an appearance in this movie?
What?
Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman.
Yep. John Carpenter's The Thing, 1982 horror film. Some music rescored for home video. Got it. And the odd thing about this movie is the Universal logo doesn't show until the very end of the movie. It's not shown at the beginning for some reason. Going Berserk with John Candy, Joe Flaherty, and Eugene Levy. The good, the bad, and the stupid. Well, there's two words that describe this movie. Bad and stupid. But, you know, it's worth a look if you just want something to laugh at or if you're bored, sort of thing. The Milagro Beanfield War with Ruben Blades. Oh, Robert Redford directed this movie. How about that? A thoroughly entertaining movie with a heart as big as the sky over New Mexico, says Jack Garner of Gannett Newspapers. And Joel Siegel of Good Morning America says, what an incredible cast. Beautifully directed by Robert Redford. Milagro is wonderful. I loved this film. I need to watch it sometime to see what I personally think of it. Earthquake, 1974 film with Charlton Heston. You alright, Jay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, Earthquake, another movie that doesn't need an introduction. Okay. We got Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, with Jason Scott Lee portraying the role of Bruce Lee. Saw this movie, enjoyed it. An immeasurably entertaining movie, says CBS TV. Dragon definitely delivers. It's a mixture of mysticism, romance, and spectacular fight scenes. Jason Scott Lee gives a striking performance, said by Playboy magazine. Label. Here's Firestarter with a very young Drew Barrymore. Also stars, I think it's David Keith. Yeah. Oh, and George C. Scott appears in the movie as well. Seen this movie. Enjoyed it. Here's The Coal Miner's Daughter with Sissy Spacek, based on the life of Loretta Lynn. Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie too. And here we have Somewhere in Time, 1980 film. Home video version, some music restored. Oh, Christopher Reeve is in this movie. I keep forgetting who stars. Okay. Label. Here's Coupe de Ville. Patrick Dempsey, Aryeh Gross, and Daniel Stern. Oh, and Alan Arkin's in this movie as well. Co-produced by Morgan Creek. Print date on this tape, but we'll look at it later. And here's the original home video version of Pure Luck. I showed the demo tape earlier, but this is the actual release. Yeah. Definitely a childhood favorite. My sister and I used to rent this movie all the time. Beethoven's Second. I do have the original Beethoven movie. I'm not really going in any particular order with these tapes. Can actually be enjoyed by the whole family, says the Los Angeles Times. And also as funny and appealing as the first. True. Okay. We have Backdraft. Ron Howard movie, of course. Here's Smokey and the Bandit Part 2 with Burt Reynolds and Sally Field, and I think Jackie Gleason. Yeah. Dom DeLuise as well. Tape out. Here's the original Beethoven. Family comedy from 1992. It's fun for the whole family, says Janet Maslin of the New York Times. Now, what to say about this movie? Out on a Limb with Matthew Broderick. Okay. Yeah, that's all I can say about this film is okay. Not much to say about it. Another movie that needs no introduction, Jurassic Park, which Tenacious Lee showcased this movie for movie night recently. I remember seeing this in theaters back in 1993. Even though I was only 6 years old at the time and this movie was rated PG-13. But hey, my parents knew that I liked dinosaurs, so why not see a movie that's about dinosaurs? Lorenzo's Oil with Nick Nolte and Susan Sarandon. Also starring Peter Ustinov. That's right, Jay. The voice of Prince John and Robin Hood, Peter Ustinov, appears in this movie.
Nice.
Uh-huh. Nick Nolte and Susan Sarandon give remarkable performances that resound with fierce conviction. In terms of pure feeling, Lorenzo's Oil is emotional plutonium, says U.S. Magazine. Label. 2-day video. Yeah. Here we have The Cure with Joseph Mazzello and Brad Renfro. May he rest in peace. Brad Renfro, that is. A testament to friendship, loyalty, and love, said by KNBC TV, and WOR Radio says one of those not-to-be-missed movies. Smart, funny, and poignant. Here's the tape. Okay. Reality Bites with Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke, and Ben Stiller. And Ben Stiller also was the director of this film. Pure Entertainment, says Rolling Stone magazine. Okay. The Flintstones. John Goodman, Rick Moranis. I remember seeing this in theaters back in 94, 20 years ago. The Flintstones is fun, said by Time magazine, and prehistorical, hysterical. Great fun, says Joel Siegel. Rock solid entertainment, a brontosaurus-sized hit, said by Michael Medved of New York Post. This is another childhood favorite. Okay. Here's The Babe, another film with John Goodman. There was only one. Remarkable and daring. John Goodman gives a grand slam performance, says Time magazine. Entertainment Weekly says it's a crowd pleaser, a celebration of the man who gave baseball its magic. Okay. The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy. Oh, yes. One of the funniest movies ever. Yep. Oh, look. Spectacularly funny. 2 thumbs up, says Gene Siskel and Ebert. Oh, he's a little Hercules. Show me the muscle again. Oh, Hercules, 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 Hercules. And I will tell you this, Eddie Murphy plays a buttload of characters in this film. Oh, yeah. Fried Green Tomatoes. Jessica Tandy and Kathy Bates. Good movie. Here we have The Sentinel, 1976 horror film. Chris Sarandon is in this movie, and as are Ava Gardner, John Carradine, quite a few others. Okay. Village of the Damned. John Carpenter flick. Frantic, frightening fun. This flick will give you some damned good shocks, says WBTV. I think we may showcase this movie sometime next month in October. House Sitter with Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I remember watching this at my cousin's house in Mississippi back in the early 90s. And there's one particular part I remember very well where some lady says to Steve Martin, "Hello," and he says, "Oh my God." Oh, I don't know why I remember that. Okay. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Okay. Not sure what to say about this movie. So, I'm not going to say anything. Smokey and the Bandit Part 3. God-awful sequel. Well, here's the original Smokey and the Bandit. The best in the series. Yep, much more like it. Breakfast Club. One of the best movies of the 1980s, if not the best. Yeah. This is another movie that does not need an introduction. This is an awesome, awesome movie. Highly recommended if you haven't seen it. Another Emilio Estevez film, Judgment Night. Also with Cuba Gooding Jr., Dennis Leary, Stephen Dorff. A wildly entertaining thriller. Yep. Funny, suspenseful, and exciting, says WGN Radio. Here's Sneakers with Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, an all-star cast. A brilliant caper with a perfect blend of comedy, action, and suspense, says ABC. Okay. Almost finished here. There's Tiger again. The Public Eye with Joe Pesci and Barbara Hershey. Produced by Robert Zemeckis. Good movie. If I can ever get the tape out. Hang on. Former rental from Hastings Video. Yeah, I got it out. There we go. Got 3 tapes left. Heart and Souls with Robert Downey Jr., Charles Grodin, Tom Sizemore, and a few others. This thing fell off, but that's okay. The best movie of the year, says ABC TV. Right? Another movie that doesn't need an introduction, Billy Madison with Adam Sandler. One of the funniest movies of all time. Oh, yeah. Definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. Okay. Finally, this is also a Good Times video release, Fudge-A-Mania. This was a made-for-TV movie back in 1995. Remember watching it when I was a child. Good movie. Show the label. And there you have it for all my MCA Universal VHS tapes, folks. Hope you've all enjoyed it, and I will see you all for my next video coming soon. And neither of these tapes have previews on them. But yeah, this is a pretty good movie. The Hard Way. Highly recommended. Here's Jetsons the movie. I know this movie got negative reviews at the box office. Majority of the reviews were negative, but Chicago Sun-Times says it's a fun-loving flick that will appeal to all ages. Everything works, which is good. And on this tape, it's got that Universal Studios Florida promo from 1990. Okay, there it is. Jetsons the movie. Here's Henry and June. NC-17 film. The only NC-17 movie that I have. Now, I'm not really reading the critique reviews on these 75th Anniversary Edition tapes because I already did that when I showed these tapes earlier this year. That's why I'm kind of going fast with the 75th Anniversary tapes. Here we have Darkman. This is a movie we should watch sometime. Okay. Yeah, this was a former rental. A lot of these tapes I have are former rentals. Yeah, if I could ever close this thing. Sorry. There we go. Hang on. Let me set the camera down. There we go. Move these tapes closer. Here's Mo Better Blues with Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, and I think Wesley Snipes is in this movie. Yeah, he is. Good movie if you're into jazz. Here's the tape. Problem Child. This movie. Okay, well, let's get going. We're going to do my MCA Universal Home Video VHS tape collections, which I have a lot of them. We're going to do the clamshells first. This is Casper, 1995 film. I remember seeing this in the movie theaters back in that year. Pretty funny movie. A family fantasy comedy of astonishing technical achievement, says Michael Wilmington of the Chicago Tribune. Yeah. Definitely a good movie to watch in October. Oh. Telephone. Let me find out who this is. Oh, well, it's from my mother, but my mother's not here, so I'm just going to let it ring. Anyways, we're going on. Casper, good movie to watch in October. The other only clamshell I have is Gold Diggers, The Secret of Bear Mountain, also with Christina Ricci and Anna Chlumsky. I think that's how you say her last name. I'm not sure. There's no critique review on the back, unfortunately. At least not that I see. No, there's not. But this is a childhood favorite. I remember watching this when I was a kid. Let's get the newer label on here. And by the way, on the Casper VHS, there's a preview for The Land Before Time 3, then a Pepsi commercial, then the FBI warnings, then the format screen, the MCA Universal Home Video logo, the Universal logo, then the film. On the Gold Diggers tape, there's no previews whatsoever. Right. And I have 2 copies of The Hard Way with Michael J. Fox and James Woods. That's part of the Universal 75th Anniversary Collection. One's a Canadian copy, actually. That's why I have 2 different copies. Well, another reason why I have 2 copies is because this copy right here is not in the greatest condition. The tape kind of hisses a bit when you play it. That's why I got me that mint condition copy right there. Well, it was mint condition when I got it. So freeze space. No. Hey everybody, Aubrey here once again alongside Ready Unknown Fox and Tiger.
Hello, people.
And right now Tiger's currently looking at my MCA Universal tapes and he's sniffing them as we speak. Tiger, is there a scent on there that you think is kind of pleasant?